Okay, Maho, you can start.
Okay. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon for all of you. In a world, in a world full of injustice, misery, and inequality, especially between male and female, we have to work to give equal rights to people. We have to exit the mentality of this person is better than this person, because we all have abilities that make us special and give us a uniqueness badge that we are not just normal people, but powerful ones, possessing creative, intelligent minds that tell us what's right and what's wrong. These minds are the ones that draw the right path in front of us to walk on towards the equality of people. For that, and due to the severe inequality we're facing concerning women working in STEM fields, we chose our topic for, for GMUN to be increasing the involvement of young women in STEM fields. And as a trainer for today, we have Mr. Hassan, a senior computer engineering student at AUB with a minor in business administration. He is the president of the debate club at AUB, and he is a debate trainer with 8+ years experience in this field. He trained several times before in several national and international debate competitions. So let's get started for our today's session with Mr. Hassan. Up to you, Mr. Hassan. The floor is yours.
Most welcome.
Thank you, Zainab, as well, for the introduction. I think we can definitely start. So thank you all, of course, as well for attending this session for today. Let me start at the beginning what we're going to do. So, of course, this is the phase 2 of the Introduction to Debate workshop. We will be actually talking about, first of all, we're going to have a small icebreaker. After that, we're going to make a small recap of what we did yesterday. And of course, after that, we're going to go into argumentation with a small activity. The activity will be a short one. And then we're going to go into refutation, and we're going to see how we can, of course, refute someone's argument. And we're going to go into some refutation techniques. And also at the same time, we're going to talk more about the logical fallacies that may happen in any debate competition or any MUN conference or any kind of informal or formal discussion that you are having. So yes, we're gonna start, I think, with the icebreaker. So for today, I think we have many people. We have Muhammad, Azra, and Hatri, and I think there is also Noor, Reem, and Rukaya. Is there anyone else, Zainab, I missed?
Midha? Did you say Midha?
Mida as well. Okay.
Yes.
So of course, this icebreaker needs like interaction. It will not be something you're gonna like leave your laptop and do like yesterday, but it needs everyone to be like answering the question or trying to guessing. It's more into like a guessing game where you need to guess actually a country or a movie. Most of them will be countries. So we're gonna have like some photos, like 2 photos that represent like, of course, two parts of the word of this country. And you need to, of course, mix them up so that you can guess the name of this country or the name of this movie. I'm gonna tell you if it's a country or a movie whenever like I go to a specific slide. So are you ready to start, everyone? I need to, I think
Yes.
Yes, we're ready.
All right.
Yes.
All right. And others, I think we need to hear more ready from.
Yes, we're ready.
All right. So yes. So the first one is these 2 photos. What does these 2 photos represent? Which country, actually? Using the chat. You can use the chat to answer this question. Focus on what you see and what it refers to as well. And try to guess the name. China, Iraq, okay. Like some of you are going into the context, I think, like seeing T and referring it to some countries. No, focus on what the word is. I think someone already said it, Madha, so Haiti, yeah, that's true. The country is Haiti because it says Haiti. T. Okay, so that's the idea of that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the idea of the context. Because of that, I told you, like,
Okay,
don't
okay.
focus on the context in a way, like, if you see T,
Yes.
don't go and see check
Yeah,
countries that are known in this.
Okay.
All right, this one, this is trending currently. And it's easy, actually. That's actually true. Seems Meta, you played the game before, maybe.
No,
All
I'm
right,
just
so
guessing.
all right. So for the second time, you are guessing it right. And first one, so this is Ukraine. That's true. Ukraine. And thanks for those who also answer the question. I think Meta was first. This one. Not very easy. And it's Thailand. That's true. That's true. So Meta again. That's of course clearly Thailand. This is maybe hard a little bit. This is a movie. It's an old movie actually. This is not a country. Yeah, I need more people, I think, answering good. No. Let me say that the first word is true. Okay, Muhammad, but that's not the out.
I'm not really good at movies, actually.
Maybe taxi, no. Like remember, like it's old a bit, I think. I'm not sure if everyone like saw it before. Like others. This time Medha doesn't have an answer. It seems that Baby
Yes,
Driver, that's true.
I'm really bad with movies and old movies.
Okay. All right. So okay, Reem got it right. It's Baby Driver. That's true. So I think 2 points goes for Madha till now, right? And 1 point goes to Reem, right? All right. Next,
Yeah.
this one.
Is it a movie or a country?
No, it's a country. It's a country. I think all of the rest
Okay.
are countries. Yes, that's a true, Madha. It's clearly Jamaica. That's true. So 3 points also you. So I think Muhammad also guessed it, but I think you guessed it first, so you get the point. Thank you, Azra, as well. So that's clearly Jamaica. That's true. All right, this one. And there, just a side note, you can focus on the context and not on the what you see to make it work. Or the action, in other words, not the item. Yes, that's actually true, Muhammad. So it is Singapore. Yes, Singapore. So you got your first point. This one.
Yeah.
And this one is very easy, by the way. Let me see. Yes, Muhammad again, that's true. That's clearly Germany. So 2 points for Muhammad and I think 3 points for Mada, right? So
Yeah, and 1
yes,
point for him.
1 point for him, yes. Still out of the competition. All right, so one more. That should be a bit tricky, but not hard. Any answer? Yes, because clearly here you need to focus not on the TV, focus. I wanted to give as a hint, but it seems you got it already, Mada, without giving it. I thought like, let me wait just 30 seconds. If you don't know it, I'm gonna give this hint, just not to focus on the TV word. but on the company that did manufacture this. So Mada, 4 points. Yes, I think we are done with this icebreaker. This was the last one. So Mada with 4 points, Muhammad with 2 points, and Dean with 1 point. So congratulations, Mada, on getting the highest score in this icebreaker. All right, so I think we can go. Okay, it's good that we congratulate her, of course. All right. Of course, yesterday we had already like some motions where we, of course, like trying to get the type of motion in. We're going to use them for today because that I put them here for the argumentation and refutation activity. But before we go to these steps, I want someone to give me maybe a recap of what we did yesterday, starting from at least what we did, and then we're going to go step by step and see what exactly each one means. So what did we do yesterday for those who have attended the session?
So we first did the icebreaker activity. Then we did also a recap for the previous one, for the previous session that we took with Zainab. And when we learned the types of debates, which are real debate, competitive debate, and
Demo.
demo, yeah,
And
demo
then-
debate, yeah. And then we took the types of motions. We have policy, value, judgment, and fact. Yeah.
Okay, that should be that's great. And we talked also about the styles of debate, right? We have different formats of debate that we can have, and we learned about why do you need competitive debate, why do you need debate in general, and these things.
Yeah.
Thank you, Muhammad. I think we need someone else to tell us what's the difference between different types of motions that we learned about yesterday. So I need another volunteer. From those who attended, I think Rukaya was there, Azra, Zainab as well.
Yes, your question was about what's the difference between the types of
What's the
motion.
difference between different types of motions? Yes, sir. Different types of motions.
Okay, so first we have judgment. Judgment is comparison between two stuff. We do have policy. Policy, it's an action. We do have
Yes.
facts, like facts or facts. And we do have last the values. It's a bit like between judgment and policy. I don't remember specifically what's the definition of it.
Thank you. And I can take Azra maybe to continue what you're saying. Like, what's the difference between the value and the policy? Or what do you mean actually? I think you're raising your hand, Azra.
Yes, we spoke about debate yesterday. We spoke about why do we have a debate? What's the importance of a debate? And you had asked us something about the like stage fright, something I can't really remember, but yeah, that's what I have from yesterday.
Okay, like about the types of motions that we just mentioned. Do you have an idea what do you mean by value and what do you mean by policy? Azra,
Yes.
do you have an idea what you mean by policy and value in terms of types of motions that we talked about yesterday?
I think that the policy is that like when you have like a fear of something and you feel like you can't accomplish it, but then you say, no, I'm going to fight this fear, and then you like try and do something about it.
Okay, okay, thank you for your participation. The actual difference between the different types of motions is as follows, just as a recap for everyone. is that when we say, of course, like when say judgment, this means I'm comparing between two things, or maybe on the same item, but I'm comparing between two different aspects, like pros, cons, for example. When I say, for example, fact, I mean like something I'm talking about that's needs scientific methods, which means that sometimes this motion doesn't come even in MUN conferences. Like sometimes you're not going to discuss scientific stuff on scientific methods. At the same time, there is the policy and the value. The value, of course, doesn't have comparison. It doesn't have scientific method. That actually like it targets more into social, environmental, economic issues. And at the same time, the policy has a sense of action or implementation or mechanism, which means that there is something you're going to implement. There's something that you're going to do through this policy after the debate, like something you're going to oppose or something that you're going to implement. Okay, so that's mainly the actual difference between the types of motions. As I said yesterday, this is clearly a technical term or technical concept in terms of the art of debate. It's something that there is no need like to memorize, but it's in details, but at the same time, at least differentiating between them. Like when you say, I'm not giving you like a technical concept where you need just to memorize it and forget about it, or someone in MUN conference or in a debate will ask you what's the type of motion. No, it's more into analysis, because when you have judgment, when you're comparing between two things, this means that you're going to focus on pros or cons. You're going to focus on not proving how this solution will be able to solve this problem, but you are going to focus more on comparing two things, showing that this better than this or that better than this, so that's the idea. If you are focusing on a policy or a value, the focus is more that I have a problem, I'm going to solve it with the solution, or I'm not going to solve it. This is a question. I'm gonna like solve this problem through the solution. Is it eligible solution? Is it something that will work or not? Okay, so that's actually the main goal behind giving you this concept. The main goal is not just for you to memorize or differentiate them in a way that I will ask you about it. It's not an examination thing in terms of as universities all the style of education. No, it's just like way of for you to understand how to deal with motions, how to deal with topics. Okay. So that's the benefit out of it in any debate or any conference you are joining. Of course, the next step is to talk about argumentation. But before we start talking about how I'm going to write an argument, I think you already had a small assignment on how to write an argument, right? If I'm not mistaken, it was a small research assignment that was assigned by the program coordinator, Zainab. So anyone who can tell me like what you exactly learned about in terms of your research, like what is an argument and how I'm gonna structure my argument in the right way if I'm in a debate or discussion, any kind of interaction with people in a formal way. Who can tell me like, yeah, Mada, you can go.
Yeah, so based on what I read, I figured that for writing a proper argument, you need to have your research in a very clear and crystal, like an organized manner to help put through your points in a strong and in a strong and formal way. You must provide a proper background and a context to the issue that is at hand, along with your opinions on it, which must be formal but strong at the same time. You must state your evidences that you have found by research on the topic in a clear manner, and you must acknowledge the opposing side of the claim as well. Also, you must keep on reinstating your claim so that it's clear for the audience and the opposition. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, I think that's very good input that you added for this topic. So that should be great. Rukaya, of course, there is no problem in this. Of course, the only like the common thing that we share in this meeting is that we all have connection issues, which means that it's something fine. Like it's one of the things that we share here. So it's fine if you're on a face you're not able to hear. I think you can always refer always to the recording, and you can also use the chat whenever you want. So there's no problem in that. And whenever you feel that maybe closing my video may help you in having better connection or something like that, I am ready to do so as well, if this helps. All right, so I think we can continue. So what you said, Mada, is very important, I think, especially in terms of restating the claim, because the difference between having a claim, like the idea is that when we are, thank you for participation, when you are in a debate or when you are like any discussion, if you're discussing something with your friends, we all have claims, but we don't know how to make them as an argument. So when you say, for example, let us say I'm discussing a topic, which is maybe I'm going to make education free for all people in different grades, for example. There is, of course, economic issue implementing this, and there is benefit in terms of education level, in terms of economic level for the future, in terms of building human resources for any project, for any company, for any kind of any kind of benefit for the country on national level. So there is, of course, a clear debate on the matter. So if you come to a debate or a discussion with your friends about the matter, you will not go and deeply analyze what you are saying. You will just throw things and say, there is economic benefit, there is social benefit, there is education benefit, there is, I don't know, like X benefit, which means that you're going to just go to throw claims, which is the problem that we are facing in all our discussions with people. We never say arguments. That's to make it very clear. There is no, we never say arguments whenever we're discussing something with people, because the culture that we maybe, or sometimes the environment that we got used to is that it's about throwing claims and just claiming without proving your point till the end, and focusing on different themes. Like, for example, if you see some discussions on TV channels, whether in your country or outside countries, you will see always the people who are debating or people are discussing things. They start economic issues, and then they go into environmental issues, and then they go into social issues, and then they go into political issues, which means they don't focus on one theme, they don't focus on one argument, because they don't have the capability actually to prove this point or to prove this argument. They just throw claims in a way that doesn't make sense, and doesn't make any sense in terms of solving the issue, in terms of actually having a stance of having a certain position from the topic. Okay, so that's clearly the problem that we are facing. And because of that, there is something that's called an argument, which is well structured, which has a very nice structure, and it helps you prove your point in a logical way. An argument is a road to you to be able to prove your point, to prove your position, to have a stance in a certain debate or a certain discussion. They never think that this is something that you're gonna just use in MUN conferences or debate competitions or whatever. If you use just the structure for debate competitions, there is no need to learn all of this session. There is no need to attend this session. Why? Because this is something that I wanted to use, and whenever you're interacting with people, whenever you are in informal session, whenever you are like informal discussion, because if you are able to prove your point in that way, in any kind of discussion that you are having, this means that you will, it's not about winning, but at least you will prove your point, and you will have a value for this discussion, and you will be, in other words, the one who's having quality actually speech in terms of what you are saying. That's what differentiates you from people in any discussion. People throw claims, and you're throwing, or you're saying arguments, full structured arguments. How this argument is usually structured, whenever you want to prove your point. Let us say, for example, you are an MUN conference, and you have a stance or you have a position from a certain topic that is set by the house, that's set by the people organizing committee of the conference. They give you a certain topic, and then after that you open some subtopics, and at the same time on these subtopics some debates happen, and you need to prove the point of your country or the argument of your country in the matter. So if you want to prove your point of your country, you should follow the structure. You should come up with a statement at the beginning. What's the statement, the first step of an argument? Statement is more into the main idea of the argument. Let us say, for example, I'm saying, for example, this house maybe, for example, will lower the age of voting so that all like youth are able to vote. Like, let us say some countries still follow 21 years old for voting. Some countries still follow 18 years old, and some countries follow higher, some 21 years old, if I'm not mistaken, in some countries. So because of that, let us say that a specific country, this country actually follows a law which allows only people who are 18 and above to vote. So I'm going to have a motion, which is this house believes that we should, or the age of voting should be lowered to 18. If I want to do that, and if I want to lower the age of voting, what will be one reason behind lowering the age of voting? If I am in such debate, what's the main claim or the main argument that you may have? In one sentence, you can tell me that.
Maybe to involve the youth in solving problems since they have newer ideas.
That's true. Like, it's a sense of democracy then, which means that you are giving space for more people to share their ideas, and at the same time, youth means valuable projects, means future, so which means that if you let them participate, this will go into the country will go on different stage, which means that your statement for the argument here will be what you said. That's the statement of the argument. The youth or the implementation of this project or this solution will be able to increase the participation or will be able to involve youth in terms of deciding, in terms of whatever, which has, of course, positive impact on the country. Okay, so because of that, this is your statement. Then you go next, the analysis. What's the analysis? You need to explain more. The main concept behind analysis is that you need to ask yourself the word why, the question why you are saying that, or why did you come up with this argument? If you ask yourself the word why or the why several times, at least 5-6 times, and you prove your point or you explain more or you give more ideas, this means that you are doing the analysis part. Let us say I'm talking about economic stuff. I'm talking about cryptocurrency, for example. I'm talking about the benefits of cryptocurrency. And I'm going to say, for example, it facilitates, for example, transactions. Let us say it facilitates whatever kind of financial stuff that I'm having or financial transactions. So this means that this is a statement. Okay, how it can, for example, do this? Through what? Through what are the features that we are having, for example, to be able to push this thing? If I'm talking about economic argument, what is inside the economy? Exports, imports, currency, all of these are parts of the economy. So go and explain them, go and analyze these parts. Analysis means asking yourself why, making things clear. And remember always that if you don't analyze your argument, you not analyze your claim or explain your claim in the second part, this means you will have a claim, which is a statement. The statement, in other words, it's a claim. And when you have a claim, this means that you didn't do an argument. Okay? So doing an argument means that you have a statement, you have analysis where you're asking yourself why, you have illustration. And what's illustration? Illustration is an example that you are getting. You go and Google things, Google some ideas to get some examples. Do you think that all the examples, all the resources are trusted in terms of Google search?
Of course not.
No.
We have, for example, that end with the .org are trusted.
Okay, all websites that end with .org are trusted?
Most of them.
Most of them. Do you know how to get this .org thing, by the way?
No,
you know
not
how?
really.
Okay, let us say, for example, technical background, you can get it through not even having organization. So sometimes you can have some illegal websites with .org. But if we want to talk legally, you can have a political party with .org, because political party, for example, in some countries are considered as organizations. Okay, so .org means, it doesn't mean that it's fully trusted whenever you see .org. Like you can still get it legally in the legal way for a political party, for example, for another sort of organization, not only like NGOs or international NGOs or whatever. Okay, if you want to get it illegal and submit and get this hosting entity, you can do that. Okay, which means that it doesn't depend on whether it's just .org or .gov or whatever. It depends on your analysis or what you are seeing. It means like if I'm opening a governmental website, that's a clearly trusted. Okay, just to make sure, that should let you know. But if you are opening a website for an organization that exists in this specific village, in this city, in Lebanon, or in another country, this is not trusted, because I can make any kind of organization and I can get this host and I can get this entity and make something work, which means that you should highly depend on trusted organizations, okay, and trusted entities, in a way that, let us say I'm talking about WHO, I'm talking about human rights. This is something that can take in consideration, United Nations, whatever. So these resources are clearly valid. Another resource, like, do you think that newspapers are a good resource for us in terms of our examples, in terms of our illustrations?
What's the question?
Newspapers are a good resource for us?
Newspapers can actually be trusted at times, considering how reporters don't really have a stance unless they are bribed by political parties, which happens rarely.
Yeah.
So newspapers can be trusted.
That's actually true. So also, the actual answer is no, but you need to see the report. Sometimes a newspaper will be getting a report from World Bank, for example, and posting it in a certain report on the newspaper, which means that this is truly trusted. But if the newspaper is just giving an opinion for anyone who's writing in it, this means that it will not be clearly trusted. Okay, so that's mainly the concept of newspapers. In other words, Google Scholar, of course, all reports in it are trusted because they're already like verified. They're already like you need you need confirmation to be able actually to be able to post there. So this is also trusted. This is truly fully trusted. But other resources for me depend on what you see, depend on what you decide on. Like if you see newspaper, decide that this report is trusted or not. If you see any kind of website.org, whatever, decide and deepen the research so that you are able to decide on the matter if it's trusted or not. It all depends on your decision sometimes. I think according to the authority that publishes this newspaper, that's actually true. That's actually true. It's considered trusted. Lineup, yeah, considered trusted. But of course, depending on sometimes the kind of articles that are, like sometimes some sort of articles, like even in trusted websites, they like sometimes the expert takes a part or the writer takes a part to explain his opinion if he's eligible enough, even in trusted websites, where you have sometimes governmental websites. If this person is an expert in the field that is giving his opinion and whatever the website is, then he's trusted. He's a trusted resource. But if it's just giving an opinion and maybe he's for example, journalist, but he's giving an opinion on something economic, and he's getting some details. He's getting a report from World Bank, but he ended his report with some comments, and he's a journalist. This means he's not an expert in the field. So this means that this is not trusted. Okay, so sometimes it needs your position in the matter, whether the website you mentioned, Zainab, whether any website that you may mention now. I'm not gonna tell you this is truly trusted. This is fully trusted. I can say that Google Scholar reports are trusted, are fully trusted. Governmental websites are considered trusted. Some international organizations that are well known, run by UN, they are trusted. These are trusted. Other websites, whatever, even if they have authority, they do not trusted unless you see and decide on the matter. You need to decide and get deep on. Okay, what's the link? The link is mainly, there are two kinds of the link, which means that there is an argument at the end, and this argument comes to support or to oppose a certain motion that you are having. So a link means that you have two links. You have the link between illustration, okay, between illustrations and statement, because at the end you went deep in and you went to make analysis and make illustration. So you need to link back this illustration to the statement. You need to say that these examples are related to the statement, or they truly prove the statement that we are having. And at the same time, there is another link which links the whole argument with the position that you are having. At the end, you're having a position from emotion, right? Which means that you are either with or against. So this is the link. Actually, just one or two sentences where you just say that this is related to this and this is related to this. Even in MUN conferences, debate competitions, whatever you want to say an argument, you need to do this, because as Meta said from the beginning, you need always to reiterate, or you need to repeat the statement. You need to always build on the statement. If you elaborate more and gives more ideas, then go back to the statement and link everything to it. Okay, so that's maybe the structure of an argument. At the same time, I have another question for you before we start the activity. Do you think that the illustration should be, like, if I want to get an example on Google for a certain argument, do you think that I write the argument, I write the motion, or I write the analysis of the ideas? Like for what I get the illustrations? For what thing? The illustrations, the examples.
Is it for the analysis?
This is 100% true. You don't go on Google and put the motion. This doesn't make sense. If you don't go on Google and put the statement, because this means you are just you don't want to think. That's it. If you want to think and if you want to give time for the matter and give effort, this means that you need to deepen your analysis on the, without the Google search. And then after that, you go to Google and try to put some examples, illustrations, which means that you put these illustrations or these examples based on the analysis ideas. Okay, so that's 100%. We're gonna go into a small activity, but I'm not gonna give a lot of time on it, and I will take some people to present their arguments. So we're gonna go for the motion that says, this house believes that, I think I'm gonna just write it in the chat. So this house believes that capitalist system is the worst economic system, which emotion we passed today. So I want actually, who likes to participate in this, like in this activity? I think everyone should be participating. So I'm gonna assign you, I think, to say, I think 1 minute, which position. So you see the argument, you see the motion in the chat, right? Okay, so I
Yes.
want, I think Madha, Muhammad, Azra, and Zainab and Dream. Okay, are with us, and also Rikaya and Hatri. So, by the way, the Hatri and Dream, you are with us. I didn't hear anything from you so far.
So what do we have to do to identify the type of motion?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna
The
tell you. So
Hatri,
just
can you hear us?
the Hatri and
Yes.
Dream, just to make sure that you are here. Kareem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not sure if Reem is with us. Anyways, I will not wait
Yeah,
more.
she said
So,
yes.
oh, okay, sorry, I thought didn't hear. Okay, so uh, then I want Azra, the Hatri, and Metha to work on an argument that supports the motion that you have in the chat. Of course, the motion is clearly a value motion, but you don't need to focus on the type of motion. I wanted to make an argument, think about an argument, put a statement, put analysis, put illustration through Google, and make the link and present this argument that supports this motion. And after that, I want, I think I said Azra, Medha, and the Hatri, right? Not mistaken. So I want also Muhammad, Reem, and Ruqayya, and Zainab to make arguments that opposes this motion, which means that you are against this motion. Okay? Did you understand what I said?
Yes, for now.
For tomorrow?
Yes, you need. No. You need to do it now. Okay. Of course, not tomorrow. No, like, I'm not gonna. Assignments are not given during class, so you will have. You will not have much time because I'm not expecting. I don't want you like to have a very long argument. Just like 1 minute, 1 minute and a half argument. So it's just a class activity, small class activity. You may have an assignment that is maybe longer, but you will take now 7 minutes exactly. So I think now it's in Beirut time 4:17 for me. So you will take until 4:24. Okay, and 4:24, I'm gonna to ask you to present your argument. I will not be able to take everyone, but I will make sure to at least take 2 people so that we listen to you. And of course, for people who are not, I will not be able to take their arguments. I want you to send the arguments on the chat of the group. After the session, I can give you my feedback. So yes, that's mainly it. Do you have any question? I think I'm gonna keep the structure of the argument shared so that you are able to see the structure. Okay, good.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
that's
go.
better.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Miss Armenia, Hassan just gave them an activity to do it. So they are just preparing their argument. They have, I think, 5 to 10 minutes, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Present. One more minute. I think time's up for this activity. So I'm not expecting that you guys finish all the argument with all the details and everything, but at least you can present something. We finish like 2 or 3 parts of it.
Yes.
We already took like around 8 minutes. So I'm gonna ask someone from people who are with the motion that says this house believes that capitalist system is the worst economy system. So I'm gonna ask someone who's with this motion, who's taking the position proposition, to give us an argument or to present the argument he or she presented. Any volunteer?
Can I try?
Yes, Mada, you are with the motion, right?
Yes, I'm with the motion.
You can go.
All right. Capitalism is a widely adopted economic system in which there is a private ownership of mass production, modern of proper working conditions of its workers. It is built on the concepts of private property, profit motive, and market competition, which is what makes it so questionable and controversial. Capitalism has been criticized by criticized by people for a number of reasons throughout history. Among them are unreliability and instability of capitalistic growth, considering how they are all privately owned businesses and cannot be trusted for anything could happen in any second of time, right from their raw mass production to their economic status. It is also criticized for its high rates of pollution that is caused due to it and inhuman treatment of workers. People are treated in very toxic environments, and 38% of employees say that they decrease the quality of work. 25% say that they have taken their frustrations out on customers, and 12% have simply left their jobs as a result of toxic workplace. And we must keep in mind that a toxic environment at work leads to a toxic environment at home, considering how it affects the mental health of the worker. Also, historians connect profit-driven economic models such as capitalism and mercantilism to the rise of oppressive institutions such as slavery, colonialism, and imperialism. So that's what makes it so controversial, and that is why I believe that it is one of the worst economic methods that could be used.
Okay, thank you, Amada, for your participation. I prefer not me giving the feedback in that way. I think everyone listened to what Madha said, right? So I want one person to tell me if Madha followed the structure of the argumentation and of the argument, and at the same time, how was the argument overall? Does it actually support the position that she's handling, that she's taking this motion? So any comments on what she said?
I was finishing my argument with Muhammad, but I heard her making the illustration, giving examples, and I heard her statement and the link, but I couldn't hear the analysis.
Okay. What about others who have like positive or negative? They can be negative, positive feedback or comments on what she said. Anyone else who was listening to her argument? Okay. Seems no. So I think that Meta, of course, as a first step, as I always say, as a first step, this is considered a very good argument because at the end, like it's maybe your first time doing following the structure and that matter. So that should be a very good argument. And I was really happy hearing this argument. However, I have just a few comments. First of all, the way you stated, the way you came up with the statement, sometimes when you started your argument, it was clear that it has a specific theme and it was clear like from the beginning on what you're talking about. But during the argument, make sure that sometimes you just like follow the same theme and at the same time, like don't give more than one argument in the same argument. Like sometimes I felt in your argument that it can be split into two arguments where you can talk about this alone and this alone and you can make things more analyzed, you know. So this a good argument doesn't mean that you came up with everything in it. A good speech means that you came up with many arguments in it, many stuff in it. But a good argument means that it is explained well and it has a certain example that is clearly following or actually proving one point in it, and at the same time it has its thing. As I said, that is mainly my comment. The example can be we can be more clear, and more direct to the argument. I prefer to have direct example. At the same time, the analysis was good. I was able to understand what you are saying through explaining things. And other than that, overall, the argument was considered very good. However, for the future, just focus on this so that, of course, you are able to have a better argument. Thank you for your participation. I'm going to take someone who's against the motion to say his or her argument. So who likes to participate? Yes, Muhammad, you can go.
First, wasn't it a group work?
We did a group work, yeah.
No, it wasn't a group work. When I say did I say there is a group work? No, I said everyone should be doing. I said these people are with and these people are against. So of course I didn't split you in the group. So, but it's fine. Well, it's fine. If you worked in a group, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, we're gonna split them into.
You mean one part said by you and one part said by Zainab, right? Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Go
Good
ahead.
enough. Okay. We really believe that the capitalist system is one of the best economic systems to what it serves.
Yes. What brought us to oppose this argument is that the capitalist system allows firms to compete with other companies in the economy, which make companies work more on the product's quality to win the competition. For instance, this allows consumers to enjoy a wider choice of products and services as they have same product with different brands, prices, and qualities.
Also, businesses are given a greater incentive to work hard since they get to enjoy the profits they're guaranteed by determining the means of production.
And according to what we've mentioned, the world and people are in need for the capitalist economy system to survive and have a high quality life. Thank you. That was it.
Okay. I think that was, of course, I can see that Rukaya, you sent a message on the chat. I'm not able to see this now. So as I said, for people who not have chance to participate, you can, of course, send the message on the group, I think, so that I can check them after the session. So I think this was a good and organized argument. But at the same time, of course, as a first step, it's considered very good. But at the same time, I believe that the motion is more into when I say this house believe that capitalism is the worst economic system means what? Means that there is an indirect comparison, right? Between what and what? Between capitalism and socialism, right? So in other words, your argument, it can be in the way that you said, it should be a good argument, but at the same time, since there is this indirect comparison, sometimes you can prove that if you want to prove that this is not the worst economic system, this means for example, that I should prove that it's still better than something else that is also worse. So if I prove that it's better than something else, this means that it comes maybe before the worst or better than the worst economic system. You know what I mean? So this is actually what I'm waiting actually from sometimes people who are opposing this argument, or sometimes even people who are supporting this argument, this comment maybe for two teams, to focus on this matter. If I want to talk about the structure of the argument that you said, I think it was good structure. Of course, analysis can be much, you can go more deep in terms of analyzing, because sometimes I felt that, okay, statement is clear, example somehow clear, but at the same time, you can explain more, you can be more clear in what you're saying. And overall, the overall structure of the argument was really good, even for the last one. Okay. So thank you for your argument, both. It's good that you work together. It's good that you had this input in the matter. And in terms of how much the argument is logic, how much it proves your point, it does actually, it makes sense in terms of what the position that you took. But again, I repeat that
this motion has kind of indirect comparison, and sometimes if you want to prove that this is not the worst, this means that you should prove there's some this is better than something else, because we all know that socialism and capitalism, they have their pros and cons. If you're not, it's not about proving that socialism or capitalism is the best, or maybe it's very good. No. There are pros and cons for both types of systems, but at the same time, proving this, it's still better than something else. That means that you are proving that it's not the worst economic system. Okay, so that's it for argumentation. We're gonna go now to refutation. Of course, two main things that you need to know in debate, and if you are a good debater, this means that you are able to argue in the right way, in a structured way, organized way. Of course, again, thank you for those who are participating in the activity. Thank you, Muhammad, Zainab, and also Meda. For those who are not able to participate, you can send your arguments on the group. As I said, so in a debate, for example, there are two different things that you need to focus on in terms of what you are saying. If you are good in refutation, if you are good in argumentation, this means that you are a good debater. You are able to convince others, and at the same time, you are able to get some flaws or check some flaws and fix them in others' arguments. So refutation has its own structure. Of course, there is difference between refutation and rebuttal. There are some details for this matter. Refutation goes for ideas, rebuttal goes for arguments, but overall, they're not going to go into these details. I want just to focus on how to refute. If you want to refute someone's idea or someone's argument, which is the second part sometimes of your speech and sometimes comes first, this means that you don't go and summarize everything that this person is saying and come. Some debate competitions I was judging, some debaters come to the debate to say that everything that this person said wrong, and I'm here to correct it, or I'm here to say why I'm against it. No, that's actually the worst way of refuting things. All what others said, most of the most of the ideas that someone says may be correct, even if they are in different position. Like you can't say that a report by UN is wrong. No, you can't say that this example is wrong. Even the argument, sometimes there are pros and cons. You can't say that this thing doesn't have any pros and doesn't have like any actually advantage. So sometimes not accepting the other side or saying that everything that they said is wrong is really is not accepted in terms of refutation. So because of that, when you want to make refutation, you summarize one idea of the argument, not all argument, not everything that he said, because this means that you didn't hear what he said. If you heard actually what he said, this means that you should just focus on one idea, summarize it, and after that you say your position, which means that I say that I'm against this, and I say the reason. Reason means why I'm against this thing, and then I give an example to prove my point, and then I summarize and link to the goal that I have or link to the position that I have. So this means that refutation is kind of counter argument that I'm having whenever I'm debating or whenever I'm participating in a conference or any competition. It's kind of counter argument that has, like, you have a point, you are explaining it, you are giving example, and you are summarizing, but at the same time, you are doing that after in a way that you are refuting to what he said or what she said as a speaker on the opponent team or that team that's against, okay? So this is mainly the concept of refutation. This is the structure of refutation. You summarize one idea, you say you are against it, you say why you are against it, you give counter argument, you say an example, and you say summarize the argument and go back to the goal or to the motion that you actually are having, or to the position that you are having, whether you are with or against this man. Okay, so this is what refutation is. And now, do you have any question on refutation? It's very easy concept, but do you have any question? Any question? If all is good, you can raise your hand, maybe. If you don't have any question, you can raise your hand so that I can know that you are hearing me and you don't have questions. Okay, thank you, Reem. Thank you, Meda. Okay, thank you all. So yes, so the activity now that we're gonna have a small activity, and I'm gonna take just one person to present. We don't have so much time for this. I believe that the person who knows how to refute is the person that is able to refute what he said. Okay, so if you are able to refute what you said, this means that you know how to refute, because your argument, the argument that you wrote, the way that you wrote it, is the hardest way to refute it, you know. So because at the end you wrote this thing, maybe you believe in, maybe you don't believe in, but at least you wrote it and you know what you are saying. Okay. So because of that, the activity is that now that I want you to do, and you will take just 5 minutes to do it. Everyone who wrote arguments, who was actively participating in the first activity, even if you didn't present or will present, whatever, I want you to take 5 minutes to refute this argument using the structure that you have here. Okay. So you take one idea net or two ideas, you say you are against them, you say your reason, and you say an example, you get an example from your through Googling it and summarizing what you said. I know that 5 minutes are not too enough for that, but at the same time, it's better than, of course, just giving you it as an assignment. So it's at least I can give some feedback on one verification that you come up with. You have till 4:45 in the Lebanese time to be able to solve this exercise or to make this activity. Okay. Any question?
So now we have to refute what we've said, what we've
Yes, refute
prepared.
the argument that you prepared.
Okay, so if we were opposing that value, so now we have to be opposing it, the opposite.
Yeah, if you are against, this means you are now with. If you are opposing, this means
Okay.
now you are opposing. Okay, so yeah.
Yes.
And as if you're another team and you're refuting. So yeah, time started.
Okay, still have 1 minute so that you're able to present something.
Yeah, but I didn't finish it all.
What?
I didn't finish, so I'm just gonna say what I wrote.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Like you mean like you don't have full refutation, right?
Yeah.
If you at least have the idea, it's fine. Like just the reason,
Okay.
so it's fine.
Okay, I'll try. So what was said is that a capitalist is the best economic system because it lets companies be in a competition to produce the best products for the consumers. I'm actually against the capitalist system since when comparing to the socialist economy system, there is less inequality of income because of the absence of a private ownership of means of production. So it leads to absence of monopolistic practices. And for that I am against the capitalist system for that reason. Okay, I didn't end the link, the number 5 step, so yeah.
Okay, it's fine, but at least we do have an idea now. Like you have an idea that why you're against, right? That's what you
Yeah.
actually said. Like you
Yeah.
did present an idea why you're against, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
So
which means, yeah, you can go.
which means so according to that, I'm against the capitalist system because it it manipulates the monopolism. It increases the monopolism in this economic system. So it brings cons on the people or on the citizens.
Okay. Okay. Anything to add?
No, that's
Okay. That should be good. I know that it's just like your reason is kind of a claim because you didn't prove it yet, but that's fine. It's still fine. That should be good try invitation. So that's accepted. Zainab?
Yes, so I just finished the 3 parts of it. Okay.
Yes.
Just a minute. Yes. So regarding the point the opponent delegate mentioned about that customers will have wider choice in purchasing, we do oppose this point. That's because sometimes some competitors don't obey the rules of competition. They may go fooling people with equality by having the products with the cheaper prices and so to buy their products. So that's what I've written.
Okay, that's fine. Still, I think like at least representing a claim. Do you have anything to add, Zainab?
No.
No, okay. At least, yeah, we're trying to, of course, to refute or trying to reply to what he said, which is accepted, which is fine. For now, this is a good try and refutation.
So I've choose just one point of what I've said. Like
Exactly,
I didn't
that's
summarize the whole.
Of course,
So
in your
what is
speeches, you need to choose, like, you need to make more than one refutation because of that. Like I said, one refutation, just one idea, but overall you make 3, 4, 5 refutations while you're talking because you will have different replies. If you think that there is just one thing to reply to and everything else you may accept it or it's fine, then it's that should be okay. In one of the debate competitions that we had before, I had some debaters who are not able even to refute. Why? Because let us say that I am talking about mainly an environmental topic or maybe health, environmental argument or health argument, for example, which proves the disadvantages of a certain topic on the health level, on the environmental level. And they got some reports and everything. And that the idea is that these concepts or this argument was given an emotion that can be a policy or a value or a judgment or whatever. This kind of motion, this kinds of arguments, you don't go and say, for example, that this report was wrong or there are no advantages or disadvantages are wrong. No, you accept them. And because of that, we're going to go now to refutation techniques. But you say that there is another side, which is something that I think Muhammad did in what he said. He said, okay, that should be like he didn't actually refuse
100% what he said, but he said that there are also some cons or some disadvantages of capitalism and he wanted to start saying them, right, in your refutation, which is a good way of refuting. Like sometimes if you think that maybe disadvantages, you can't actually refute them, or there is no chance of saying that these are wrong, you can go and say that there are disadvantages at the same time, which means that this is kind of refutation at the same time. Because of that, we're gonna go, of course, there are some advices here, which means that, of course, use the transition in terms of presenting your speeches, because I can see during the activity that sometimes you have this problem. Avoid, of course, monotony emphasis, even at the same time, like the summary of the speech and highlighting the important part of it should be at the end of the speech. End your speech with that. There is here like some advices in terms of, or some techniques that we can use in refutation. I'm gonna send this presentation to all of you. You're gonna see the example. You're gonna see like how the statements are being refuted using different techniques. But I'm gonna just make sure now to go over them fast in terms of techniques, because I think that if you just go over the presentation after the session and see how the statements, like statement 1 is refuted using technique 1, statement 2 is refuted using technique 2, statement 3 refuted using technique 3, whatever. If you see them in that way, I think you'll be able to understand them without me reading them, because I don't like to read actually the presentation. I leave it usually for participants to read it after the session. This is clearly something that you can see through reading. But if you want to explain the technique 1 is mainly the reducing. If you want to refute the reason part and refutation, which is why or how can I reply to what you are saying. First one is to reduce the importance of the other team statement, to show like in a way or another that this is not relevant to the topic, and logical wise to an argument. The second technique is to identify that the factual assertion is insufficient to prove a point. So don't say that in this technique, you don't say that this argument is wrong, but you say this argument is not sufficient, is not enough actually to prove the point that the motion is saying, or the position that it's saying, which means that it's not sufficient. It's not about it's true or not. It's not sufficient actually to show that an assertion to be false, because sometimes you may have some false ideas or some stuff that you can't actually accept, false argument. Look out for generalizations. Some arguments, they have generalizations. You say, for example, if this person has a low average in this school, this means that all people in the school, for example, they have low averages, and it seems a school where losers are there, so this is a clear generalization, because it doesn't work. So this is a way of technique of refuting. At the same time, I really like the technique here, which is emphasizing the positives or negatives of the statement, which is something that Muhammad did, and I was talking about already. If sometimes you are talking about advantages, it's advantage, just like the motion that you just had, because it's an indirect comparison. Don't say that these advantages don't exist, and I'm coming to tell you that disadvantages. No, say that disadvantages exist, and come up with some disadvantages that prove your point as refutation. So refutation doesn't mean that you say that this is wrong and you correct it. It's not a correction. Refutation is not a correction. Refutation is a way of replying or proving your point or proving your position through replying to others' argument, which means that you can say that these advantages are accepted, but I'm coming here to say some disadvantages, or these disadvantages are accepted, or we know them, but there are also some advantages. Identify any weakness between the cause and effect, which means that the way the argument is structured, I start with a statement and then I try to prove it and come up with a certain result at the end. If there is a problem between this cause and effect, this relationship, this means that this is a way of refutation. Underscore the priority of values, and here, of course, showing that it has less importance, just like the first technique, is enough to do this refutation. Also, while talking about, or while having, of course, which is the last part of the day, while refuting or while making arguments, or while participating in any MUN conference or in any debate competition or any sort of discussion with people, whether it's formal or informal, there are a lot of logical fallacies that debaters do, or that delegates do. And these fallacies are usually even done by experienced debaters. So don't think that if you take this training, you're not going to do these fallacies. You may do them, and if you do them, but in order not to do them, make sure from now that memorize, or that you think about the argument, think about what you are saying before saying it, because if you make a logical fallacy in terms of MUN conferences or debate competitions, sometimes it may lead to disqualification of the team or the delegation, and it will clearly, of course, make a problem in terms of your grade. So you'll not pass, you'll not be able to get a good grade and get awards and win the debate or win the discussion and in terms of you do the logical fallacies. Okay. So the first logical fallacy that you need to avoid is called ad hominem. Who knows what ad hominem is? Because I think these stuff usually are given not only in debate trainings, usually in some other trainings, leadership trainings, these things, like a lot of other trainings, we usually give logical fallacies, not a debate term. It's general, it's not overall. So because of that, I'm asking about it. Ad hominem, what's ad hominem? Who knows this? Think I have the Hatri. I have Madha, Muhammad, Reem, and Zainab. If you know that, you can unmute and
So
answer. If
sorry,
you
I
know.
have no clue.
I don't have an
Okay,
idea.
thank you. Okay, so when I say ad hominem, okay, when I say the word ad hominem, I mean personalizing things, which means that, for example, for example, if I'm in a debate, for example, I'm talking about let us say refugees mainly. I can say, for example, and I am debating with a team where this team, they have some refugees, for example, or maybe my team has some refugees. I go and say, okay, look at yourself, for example, where, for example, you are coming here to participate in this competition, and you are not you don't have the nationality in this country, which means that refugees have rights, for example, in this country. You know, so this is clearly personalization because you are taking as an example, and you don't have the right to say anything about him on the personal level. Or maybe you talk about yourself and you say maybe one time I visited this. For example, schools in Lebanon, they are schools in this region, for example, or the Middle East region, they are facing some problems in terms of curriculums. I was a student in this country and I did well and all is good and the curriculums are really good. This is clearly, of course, ad hominem. It's personalizing things. You are taking yourself as an example to prove your point, which is wrong in debate, or you are taking others as persons and not you are discussing arguments with them. And you are trying to refute through focusing on the person, not focusing on the logic or focusing on the argument. You know what ad hominem means now? To raising hand, you can tell me, because I'm going to ask this question several times.
Yes.
Through raising hand, okay. So others, ad hominem is clear now. Reem, Madha, Dihatri, if you are hearing me, because I'm saying
Yes.
sometimes your names. All right. So strawman is another fallacy that you may make in debate. It's something that actually I did in debate before as a debater. All debaters do. Because if you are in MUN conference or in a debate competition, this means that you need to focus for a long time. MUN conferences are not short. They're not for 30 minutes or 15 minutes and you are done. No, this is just the introduction of MUN conferences. If you are in a debate competition, this means you may have full day of debates or 2 days or 3 days. It's a competition at the end. It may take 1 week. So because of that, strawmans happen. If you are refuting to what someone said, and you want to reply what he said, let us say this person said a certain sentence, which is like the effect of cell phones, for example, on people in general, like as its advantages. So let us say that you want to refute this argument and you want to say that no, cell phones are really good. Then you say, then the person who was speaking already mentioned that like a certain disadvantage, and you come to refute and you mention another disadvantage and start refuting. Like you totally ignore what he said and you invade, you can say like this, invent, sorry, a certain disadvantage and you start refuting, which means that you are refuting something that wasn't said. So sometimes because you lose focus in this competition, on these conferences, because you're focusing for a long time, you go and invent things. Like you say like this person said this thing, but this person didn't actually say it, which means that this is wrong. Okay, so this is strawman. The third one is false dilemma, or like false dichotomy, which means that you are restricting things. You say, for example, if you do this, then you are gonna win. If you do this, then you are gonna lose, which means, or for example, this problem can be solved by these two solutions, by these two options. There are only two options to solve this problem. So when you restrict, or when you can say, don't widen or don't leave a space for more suggestions, and you say that this thing can be done in two things, you just restrict things. This is a false dilemma. At the same time, there is the fourth thing, which is a slippery slope fallacy. Slippery slope fallacy is a fallacy that's usually done, and usually all debaters do. It's when you say that, for example, if you extend the deadline for someone to do an assignment, this means he will never do the assignments and you will always be extending it for them. Of course, this is true about students, you know, so when you extend the deadline for a student in a certain assignment, like even for university students or school students, he will always ask for extension. This is true, but in debate, it's not true. You can say that. Logic doesn't say that. Like life, of course, experience that says that, but in debate, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to just go onto this idea. Virtuous circle, which is like, you know, like for people who like in coding, there's something that's called loop or maybe a circle that moves and stays in the same point. It's if you want to talk, go ahead of coding, like if, in general life, for example, you may have an argument which says that, for example, this thing leads to this thing, which means that, for example, X can has an impact, can have a big impact, and can lead to Y. So you're just repeating yourself. You are just rephrasing things several times. You're not making any sense in what you're saying. Virtuous circle or circular argument, in other words, circular argument, it's the actual fallacy. It's when you don't say, when you say something that actually has a certain relation or has like you keep on repeating things and rephrasing things in a way that doesn't actually make any sense for the speaker. So you're just repeating yourself and just going into this circle. Because, you know, when I say circle, I mean, if I put a point on a circle and I move, this means that I will stay on the same point, right? So it's something that repeats itself. So because of that, it's called a circular argument. You repeat yourself. Generalization, which is like, I take an example and I say like all people, all, for example, these like this nationality in this country, for example, there are some security problems, which means that all people are terrorists in this country. And if there's a terrorist in this country, this means that all of this area, these people in this area are terrorists, which is truly generalization because it doesn't make sense in logic or in debate. So these are the logical fallacies that I'm gonna I wanted to explain. Do you have any question on them? I didn't ask about each one just to make sure that I finish on time. Do you have any question on these fallacies before we end? If no questions are there, we can say all is good, or you can say you don't have questions.
It's all good.
Yeah, all's
Oh,
good.
No
all right,
questions.
all right. Make sure not to have any of these logical fallacies in any MUN conference, any debate competition that you are having. Otherwise, you will have, there is big chance that you lose this debate. There is big chance that you're not able to do a good results. And at the same time, in terms of personalizing things, there is big chance that you may get disqualified. There are a lot of teams that you usually disqualify in debate competitions because of taking things personal or maybe saying some bad words to others, which is something that's not accepted, of course, in these debates, because respect is the most important thing. I'm gonna go into feedback, and that's just like yesterday. How much do you rate the session out of 10 for people who were attending?
Surely
You can
you would give it the mark.
So you can use the chat, or you can unmute yourself and tell me how was the session for today and how much you give it out of 10 in terms of rating.
I definitely love this session, and I like how interactive it is. I just wish more people are interacting with us. There's more interaction. There's more people because really this session deserves more. Yeah, so 10 over 10, yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Diatri, as well. And Mada, how was the session?
Yeah, the session
as well?
was really informative. I really liked it because I've never been to a debate coaching or anything like of that sort. So it taught me a lot, and I'm sure it'll help me in my life as well as the upcoming months. So thanks a lot for that. 10 out of 10.
I think he left. So, Bismaha, unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you, Muhammad, for the note. I think Hassan lost his connection, and Zainab too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Actually, we would like to thank him for this amazing.
I'm sorry, I think I lost my laptop got off, so battery went. So yeah, sorry.
Don't
for
worry,
cutting off.
dear. accept our endless gratitude for this amazing session, really. It was a great pleasure to be with us.
Thank you. That's highly appreciated. And thank you, of course, Isma and Zainab as well for this invitation and for all the participants who are here for today. It was a pleasure. Thank you all.
We have to thank you. Thank you so much for these outstanding efforts. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so we can end this session now. Thank you all for participating and see you all in the next days. Bye-bye.
Bye.